I actually learned to train dogs in the military, so I'm a veteran. And I took that passion and put it to doing what I love to do. I was teaching public classes when a Marine out of nowhere called and said that he wanted a service dog. He was suffering from PTSD and a traumatic brain injury, that he had contacted a bunch of organizations, had been on waiting lists for years. So I started talking to him about what it was that he wanted, what it was that he was looking for the dog to do, and why he needed a service dog. That catapulted me down this path. And I looked at the mobility assistance world, look at the guide dogs world, and said, okay, what can we take from each of these? We don't want to reinvent the wheel. What can we take from each of them to put together a program that benefits the guys and gals coming home with the invisible wounds? Because that's really what it is. The way my program works is we identify the individual who has a need, who has the disability, the invisible wound, physical or otherwise. And then we take and we go to shelters and rescue groups and we match them with the dog. I spend time talking with the veteran, getting to know them. What did they like to do before they became injured? If they were kind of even killed to begin with, you want an even killed dog. If they loved to hike and love to get out, but they haven't done that, then we need a dog or a breed that's going to be a little bit more active. And balance that with the service side where they need to be calm and under control all the time. They immediately benefit because we're not giving them a trained dog, we're giving them skills to train their own dog. So I'm training them so that they train their dog to be their service dog. In doing so, right off the bat, they get a sense of purpose. One of the things you lose when you leave the military is that mission, that sense of purpose. What am I going to do? So by them training their own dog, they immediately get a mission. I tell them at night, get the dog up on the bed. So different than a pet where we're like, no, your pet bed, or throw them out in the backyard kind of thing. Nope, these dogs need to be with these guys and gals all the time. And by being up on the bed, without the veteran even knowing it, we're beginning to teach a task, which is for the dog to wake them from a nightmare or to be there if they have a seizure. So within a couple of weeks, a few things have begun to happen. And the very first is, if they have that nightmare and they're stirring, the dog is now nudging them. The dog is saying, hey, wake up, or licking their face. So the work that I do at the Pathway, I come up from Gilroy every Thursday, and I spend the day. We do group training, we do one-on-one training, we go to the chow hall, mess hall, for lunch, because that's actually really good training, because a service dog needs to be well behaved in an establishment that has food, because when they get out in real life, they may go to the restaurant. So it gives us the opportunity to teach the dog to be under the table, not to go after food on the floor, to navigate around. We'll walk to downtown Yountville, which has been amazing because the folks and the businesses downtown are just really supportive and very accommodating. That's all getting them to take those steps, venture out, don't isolate, don't hibernate. And it's interesting because we do it as a group, and then the next thing you know, they're walking down there on their own. 20 months ago, I was a sole proprietorship, Canine Coach Plus. As within months, it began to grow to where I was like, okay, how am I going to keep this going? Because the demand is so great. And the statistics that I saw at the time said 1 in 5 coming home would have some form of invisible wound. And that didn't even include those with the visible wounds needing the mobility assistant. Through friends and through the public classes that I was teaching, I was able to fund this. Probably about 6 months ago, a couple of friends knocked me over the head and said, Mary, you can't keep doing this. You're going to go broke doing it. Let's put together a nonprofit. And out of that came a nonprofit called Operation Freedom's Paws. The reason there's an S on that freedom is when you go into the military, you give up every single liberty and right. And it's not just freedom. It really is all of those combined, and to include giving up your life. In a lot of ways, the guys and gals coming home with the invisible wounds have given up their life, the life that they knew, and that goes really unnoticed and unrecognized. My vision and dream is that we can provide as many service dogs to the men and women as possible. You know, we talk about transitioning our veterans back out into society. We really don't do a good job at it. We're never going to heal PTSD. We're never going to heal traumatic brain injuries. These are things that they're going to have to live with all of their lives. But what we can do is give them a sense of life. The gift that they have given me back, I can't put into words. Because this program isn't about me. It's about them. And it's about their being able to put one foot in front of the other. Something as simple as they begin to have a flashback in public. That anxiety creates and triggers a flashback where you see it in their eyes, that they're not here in this present moment, that they're someplace else. And the dog jumps up on them, nudges them, gets their attention, and all of a sudden they're back here in that moment and they kneel down and give that dog a hug. There's no greater gift.